we weren't allowed to dance, we weren't allowed to draw, we weren't allowed to have pictures. Like there was just pretty much any sort of like individualistic expression was considered sinful. And I didn't even know I was an artist at the time, but like I was just like what's the point of life right now if I can't enjoy it or I can't express my joy? And so over time, like I've just been picking up like little nuggets of like, oh, I don't have to think that like that anymore or whatever it is. Like I had a very different relationship with the universe and like how I felt about spirituality in general coming from that place. So as I developed and my mind started to develop, I created a new relationship with my spirituality.
You're tuned in to Making It, Life as an Artist. I'm Taylor. What does it really mean to make it as an artist? Let's find out. Welcome, everybody, to the podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Gallegos, and with me today is an awesome individual who I'm excited to have on here. She's an artist, a creative, pursuing her life, I don't know, creativity, excitement, dreams, goals, all the things. And yeah, she's doing it through paint. So without further ado, we've got Andrea Solorzano. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. Excited to be
Definitely. Here. Yeah, good. Me too. We're just going to jump in with the first question, which is, in terms of your creativity, your creative pursuits, what are you most excited about right now in life?
I think what I'm most excited about, like the thing that excites me about art in general is that it feels like a puzzle of like self-discovery. So I feel like with every like new project or every like, honestly, any action that I take towards my artistic career feels like I got a new puzzle piece. So I'm excited to keep building that puzzle and putting it together and just making connections. I'm just most excited about making connections, helping people with, their artistic dreams and their pleasures and whatever they like. And I'm excited to be a part of that mix and just keep building.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Were you looking for something specific?
No, that's great.
Okay.
No, and immediately it makes me think about like, okay, so the reason that I wanted to have you on here is because you're on your artistic path, but you're very early on in your career. And like what you said about the puzzle pieces totally makes sense. That's where you're at. You're like all these things. And I've known you for a couple of years now or like for almost a year probably. And we've been working together in different capacities, and I've been seeing these puzzle pieces get put into place, and I've been seeing like light bulbs just like come online, and you're connecting dots and you're starting to put things together in really cool ways, and I'm seeing momentum build. Are you feeling that momentum? Are you seeing it?
Oh yeah. And like and it's not like I haven't gathered momentum before, because like I've been pursuing art pretty much like all my life. Like it was never really like a thing that I think I could have, continued doing. Or, I don't know if that made sense, but I think this is like the first time that I feel like the momentum that I'm picking up right now is exciting, and I'm like looking forward, like I have a more like positive outlook on it. Whereas like before it was like, oh yeah, well this is fun and stuff, but it's still like my hobby. And I had a really hard time like just understanding that if this is going to be my career, if I want to keep doing this, I have to take it as seriously as any other position I've taken in, in like the workforce. So I feel like this is the first time I've taken it seriously. And like, thankfully, I feel like I've found, or I've started to gather like the people, like the tribe of people that have supported me, like you and other artists, like established artists that I've met. I think that's probably one of the biggest blessings I've had like on this journey. It's a missing piece from before. Like I said, I've worked on art like all my life, but having the support of like other people and established artists and accepting that like support like with grace, like that's like a mindset shift for me that I didn't really have. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It reminds me of a turning point in my career where I took on a business manager, and in working with her, it totally changed everything. And the metaphor that I kept on coming to with it was that I felt like before her, I was trying to paddle my little rowboat with one paddle. And
Mm,
no matter how hard I tried, like it was difficult to move forward with any sort of speed. And a lot of times I just ended up like paddling myself in circles. And then in working with Lara, it like gave me the other oar. And so then I could actually start going places with it.
yeah. So you worked with her as like your business manager who kind of helped you like organize everything. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And she came in from the perspective of like being an online business manager for small business. So she was looking at my whole everything as just like a small business that is art related.
Yeah.
And that really helped to like look at projects a certain way and invoicing and income and taxes, and like it helped me like see the world from a business standpoint,
Yeah.
which helped like smooth everything out.
Yeah. It's like speaking on that like, creating the team and then also like you said like taking, putting the structure of it together,
Yeah.
taking it more seriously and stuff. And so yeah, so that's what's happening now. Like that's that I'm just barely kind of getting there right now, like trying to put together like a structure
So
with
what
all
does
of
it
it.
look like? You said that, now you see that if you're going to make this work, you have to put in as much energy and focus and determination as you would for any other job. What does that look like in terms of your art?
Well, in terms of my art, it looks like it like even though like the operations, I guess like administrative tasks like is a different type of focus than like doing art. Like I feel like with my art, it's more about like letting go rather than like super focused, hyper focused on making this like be perfect or whatever, or getting it right. Because I think like whenever I put together structures or something like that, like any sort of system, like I want to do it right, like the first time, or as many times as it takes. With art, I feel like I'm kind of more like the opposite. I want to be as like open as possible, so that way it's not. Um, so because like that just like speaks to who I am. Like I feel like I'm just like a type of person who's open. So I want to show that in my art. So I want to like tap into that every time I do work. It's like 100% effort into like being more open.
And that's because you're coming from a place like in the past you haven't been?
Yeah, I think like in the past, my focus was kind of like the same, like what I was talking about when it comes to like building like a system for something. I was like hyper focused on making sure it looked right, or like, oh, will people like it? Like just overdoing it, I guess, overthinking it. And so now I think like I'm just taking a different approach to how I've been before. Because I think I was like really hard on myself too. And that was keeping me away from opportunities. Like, there's a lot of missed opportunities that I feel like I could have taken, and like I could have been much more further and all that stuff. But I'm happy like as long as I'm learning like whatever I need to learn like to get to where I want to be, like I'm okay with taking the long route, I guess. Yeah.
Everything in good in time?
Yeah,
Where do you
exactly.
So like it seems like there's a lot of self-critique and like sort of like hard criticism from yourself, from like a voice in your head. We've talked about this a lot, so like I have a
Yeah.
background on it, but it seems like there's a lot of like self-critique, and there was a hesitancy to like uh dive in and like go for it, or like put yourself out there, put your work out there. Where
Yeah.
do you think that all came from and like got set up?
I mean, I feel like there's so many different things that um I feel like I can say, or maybe, or, ponder, like maybe it's from this, maybe it's from that. But I think essentially like the critique came from like my childhood and like how I grew up, and like just like learning from the adults in my life. Like I grew up with a single mom, and so like she had to do it, like she wanted to get everything like right, like as a person that's like relying, pretty much on themselves to like keep everything together, like there's a lot of pressure there. So I think I learned over time on like how important it is to get things the way that you want it to be portrayed. And so I think I went overboard with that, and yeah, I kind of just like picked up on those things. And like, and there's, like I said, there's like so many other things, but I think the main thing was probably from like what I've just like learned and picked up as a kid, and really I didn't really know how to go about the world. So I was like, okay, this is one way to do it. So let me just go about it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is tough when it's applied to the world of art, which has so much time and energy being spent in a space where you don't know the outcome. You know, when you're experimenting, it's like if you're editing too early on in the process, then your creative side doesn't necessarily have the chance to like fully go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that was like a hiccup that I kept like coming across while like on my journey. Like why do I stop at these like beginning stages? Like what is that? Like, and before the way I would think about it was I would be really hard on myself and be like, oh, maybe I'm just not meant to do this. Like maybe it's not from, like, just start doubt, all of the unkind things that I feel like we all go through. Um, and then it wasn't until I started kind of like challenging those thoughts and those beliefs and those things about myself. And then that's when I was able to slowly but surely kind of do like one little thing at a time that I know would push me out of my comfort zone, but still obviously gives me that little piece of anxiety, but like still do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like tell us about what your messaging to yourself is now through all these like big jumps that you're making.
Yeah, I think the biggest message that I have with my art is about transformation and um the truth, like the constant truth that we are always going to be changing. So we have to, well, it's also like a reminder for me, like just be comfortable with things that are just moving and changing, and you're moving and changing. And so a big a big symbol in my work is the butterfly, and the butterfly is a symbol of that transformation and that story. So yeah, so that's a huge part, a huge thing in my work. And then also just like connecting with people, like just the art in general is just a huge, I don't know, especially murals. Is why I love murals so much, like because it's like a landmark of like connection, that people are like, oh, there's that mural over there, like with the turtle or whatever, or the flowers or whatever it is. It's like it becomes like a point of connection for people to like come together and just like admire beauty. And yeah, that's
That's awesome.
yeah.
A landmark of connection.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about it that way, and it really is. It's like this. It's like it's a landmark. It's a spot on the map, and everybody in the community sees it. Especially, with a mural, it takes time to paint and develop. So a lot of times the people in the community walk by every day and they see it develop, and they develop this like this heartfelt connection with it, with you as the artist, and then like it becomes this thing for each other. Like neighbors can connect on this thing that, you know, maybe they don't know each other, but they both see that and they connect over it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like just yeah, community building. Like there's no everybody wins basically when it comes to art, I feel like, because it's also novelty too. It's not something that you're like expecting really, like, and it's also like the element of surprise, like, oh, what's it gonna look like when it's done? It's like, that whole ensemble is it brings in so much good connection and joy and all those things. It's like I feel like we can all benefit from that environment. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what about the connection with the people that you've done the murals for? And client and like and personal work, or like paintings on canvas, because I've seen you do those for people in really connected ways and everybody loves it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's important to be intentional about like the type of clients that you want in your life or that you want to serve, I guess. And so one of the last murals that I did was for Cadence Dance Studio, and it's an all girls dance studio. And there's a reason why I chose that specific studio is because I want to inspire young girls to follow their dreams, like whatever capacity that looks like, and that expressing yourself is a good thing. And so I wanted to, even though like, I would see them here and there, like you said, like they'll come up and they'll see like, oh, like when's it gonna be done? Or just like ask you questions. I want them like just me like as that also as that like symbol of like, oh, there's an adult, there's a person that a woman who followed their dreams and or now she's doing what she wants to do. And because that was I feel like that's what I needed like as a kid. Like I needed that any adult like in my life that was like pursuing art and like in the creative industry like really inspired me. I wanted to be that for other people. So I feel like with the clients that I choose or the clients that I want to work with is like people who are impact driven, like people who have a purpose for what they're doing. Like they're not just doing it just because they think that it's going to make them rich, you know? I feel like I've learned that that's a limiting way to look at life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about like a social impact and like personal impact for others, and yeah.
Yeah. Like people who are purpose driven, not just like, just looking at aesthetics kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are there any things that you've got cooking up? I know like we talked a little bit about the concept that you had with like the installation idea that you're developing. You know, maybe it was going to happen at my old studio, but like that idea definitely has some energy behind it. Do you want to tell us
Yeah.
about that a little bit?
Yeah. So,
Because it's more than just painting. It's more than just a mural. It's
yeah.
it's a whole other experience.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what's so, again, like going back to what art is for me is that, um, it, it's a, it's a reason to connect. And I love the idea of being like, I think of myself as like an art fairy. So, for instance, so because like I said, like I love like novelty, like I love elements of surprise, like I love like those sorts of things. And so, one of the idea that I was telling you about was like setting up some sort of like installation where basically, that's a cool cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Where basically you go inside a room and it's kind of like it's like a garden inside. It's like a mystical kind of garden. And you got like little butterflies like around and just making it seem like it's kind of like this like new growth, like rebirth, like spring, basically. Just and yeah, just like the transformation of like winter to spring, like again, like that, the newness of it. And so what I want to do is for Art Walk in Oceanside that we're going to be doing on Friday, I want to set up these like large paper flowers and maybe have like some moss somewhere, just kind of like start adding in like those elements. Because again, like the way that I think about myself in this like story of art is like this like art fairy. So I want to be like kind of like this art fairy that like this is my environment. Like this is where I'm growing and stuff. Like come look at like my like little oasis sort of thing because of everything that's going on so much in the world, like I feel like it's nice to have that element of surprise. You're just walking by and you're like, wait, what's in there? Like, and then all of like whatever you were thinking of just like completely goes away. And you're just like, what is this? And you start asking yourself questions like, what is this? Why is this? Why is this here? And like those are things I feel like that, can help us like at a visceral level of just, I don't know, coming together with yourself, I guess, like finding your own peace, like asking yourself questions and how you relate to the environment and other people. And what does this have to do with you? And why do you like this? I don't know. Like just that, all of those questions. Like I love that the thought provoking ideas that you get when you're in an environment of art. So I want to create that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have an alter ego that's a fairy.
Yeah. So like along when I first kind of started shifting my mindset, I told myself that I wanted to see signs. And so I would tell myself I'm going to see, I would say butterflies and blue glass and feathers. And so I went to like my friend's house one day and I didn't even know this, but she had like a butterfly farm and she didn't even tell me about it, but she was just like, yeah, like come over, we'll hang out and stuff. And so after work, I was like, wait, what? So there's like a bunch of butterflies like everywhere in a room. So we're like all like, I'm like stoked. I'm like, this is so cool. Like what? And then I start like, looking around and then I start looking at her room and I see like this vase that has like feathers in it and it was blue. And so I was like, this is like a very, like, I don't know what's happening here, but like, there's something interesting and magical about this experience. And she told me that I look like a fairy, like just by like, cause I was like, playing with the butterflies. And so that's where that kind of whole concept comes from.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So, okay. So then is magic a part of your artistic process? Is there are you connecting to like a magical side or a magical space when you're making art or with your intention for your art?
I think so. Yeah. I think, yeah, we connect in a lot of different ways. I think we can connect to that magic, whatever it is, like in anything that we do. And I feel like for me, it's just like it's an easier way for me to connect, like in that space through art, because I feel like I can get there quickly, like just because of repetition, right? Like I feel like anybody could be like an artist, but yeah, just over time, I've gotten more and more open, more like it's just, you're just like practicing like that type of focus. So, did I answer your question? I don't even know if I answered it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You're bringing in magic and
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
doing it more and more over time.
Yeah. 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 Do you feel like you bring in magic?
Um,
You believe in magic.
I do. I do, but it's not like a main theme, like it's, I mean, when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, there is definitely magic, but I guess I go about it, it's not a main focus. And that's where it's cool. Like with our art, we can create whatever we want. We create the reality that we want. And there's certain like parameters and paradigms that we're bringing into our art so that when people are in the space of our art, looking at our paintings, looking at our murals, like surrounded by, I'm thinking about the art walk. We're gonna have these like art setups, and people are gonna be at our little tents and then looking at it, and they're like immersed in it. And what's the
Yeah.
overall feeling and the overall vibe? And I think like a main theme for me is just sort of like a sense of wonder and
Mm,
awe.
yeah.
Like yours is like an active magic. There's like I'm definitely seeing like a magical fairy with these spaces and like connecting with butterflies and they're magical creatures and they definitely are magical creatures. Uh I was walking with Carlos and Sarah the other day and the dog and our dogs and there were these caterpillars that were on these bushes. There were like hundreds of them and then they were like they ate up all the bushes and then they would go into these and like make these little chrysalises
Mm,
hanging on the branches of the bushes.
yeah.
And it just brings to mind that like they go in as a caterpillar. A caterpillar has a certain structure, body sections, and like it walks along the ground or on things.
Yeah.
And then in the chrysalis, they liquefy and completely lose their form. They turn to liquid
I
goo.
don't know.
Yeah, they don't have eyeballs anymore. They don't have legs. They turn to goo, and then they reform into a butterfly that has a completely different structure.
Different shape. Yeah.
Everyone should fact check me on this, but that's what I've heard, and I've heard it from multiple sources. I'm pretty sure that's what happens. That's
Yeah.
insane. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's magic. And then they come out, and they're no longer creatures that exist on a two-dimensional surface. They fly in three dimensions. Like they literally transition up dimensions.
Right. Yeah. It's wild. I think the coolest thing like, about it is like, it's similar to like our own birth, right? Like our, whatever, I don't know what happens really, but like, it's like the idea of like the pain that you have to go through to get to like that next level. And like I just feel like the more that I like learn about that, like the more I just continue to discover like, oh, this is like in everything. Like literally everything that we do, it's like really, really hard or really, really painful. And then boom, like all of a sudden you're a butterfly. Yeah.
On a whole new level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Flying around.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, and it's like liquefying the past, really, to like
Mm.
get to become the next version of yourself. You have to like fully process it and then use all that like matter and experience and energy to like shift to the next version of yourself.
Like literally reshape it
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, which is really cool. I mean, like that's definitely a thing that I'm seeing in you is going from like who you were when I met you to like in a very short amount of time, you have just like really been going after your goals and doing the legwork, the homework that you have to do to get to the next level. And yeah, it's like maybe it's painful. I don't know. It seems like you're doing it pretty effortlessly, but I definitely see that you're putting in time and energy, which is what I think is like the main aspect of what you're doing with your transition.
I appreciate that.
Do
Yeah.
you feel like it's
There's
painful?
definitely,
Is there pain on
yeah.
your end of things?
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely, I don't
And
think
what's
we'll
that
ever,
like? What's your experience of the pain of all these transitions of the growth that you're going through?
to be completely honest, the pain that I've felt is hollow and open. It's almost like you're going to like a cave and like, it's dark in there and you have no idea. Like you feel like you're just like lost, right? Like you're just like, what? It's cold. Like it feels like you feel like this void. And I feel like that's painful. And I think in the past, like I said, like I wouldn't even get to that point. Like I would stop at like even the thought of that. But now I'm at the point where like I feel into it and I will tell myself, okay, like I'm open. Like because I before I would get scared of this void, but now I'm like, there's this thing and I can fill it with whatever I want. And so like I'm just like much more dedicated to like again, like going back to like purpose and why am I doing this? Okay, I know I want to help, I want to connect. Like I want others to feel connected too and just like not being scared of like the pain that I do feel because there is like, I could feel pain about not being where I'm at or where I want to be. But I think where truly want to be is like I want to be fulfilled, right? And I want my art to make me feel, or I want my art to be, or just like, yeah, just a fulfilled being. And so, yeah, I just am doing as much work as I can to remind myself that, I'm like that void is like not something I should be scared of. It should be something that I move through and I'm curious about and knowing that on the other side of it, like I'll be this butterfly, right? Like I'll get through like whatever that hollowness is and um I know that there's more for me, basically.
Do you think that the part of that feeling of like the hollowness, the void, do you think that comes with being an artist? Like being an artist, you don't have a team in the way that you would be if you like worked as a developer on a app or something like that. Or like
Yeah.
you're like it's really a solo mission and you can have, friends, colleagues, mentors, like guides, whatever, but like really essentially it's you that has to walk the path for yourself and you're in that cave by yourself, finding your way in the dark.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And one thing I'll say is it's cool that like the next thing you mentioned was like back to your intention of like the why. It seems like the why can be a guide for you through dark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because it's like the only sense of like light for me, right? Is like I know that I rather be more I rather be more connected than disconnected. So like I know like in my mind, like even though I'm like in this cave and I can't see the light, I can create it and imagine it in my head. And I do that by saying those kinds of words like, okay, like back, like if I'm working on something and I'm like completely lost, I have no idea what I'm doing, why am I doing this? Like I go back to that, like those, like what is it? Like the purpose and like, okay, connect, like, okay, let me come from a connecting place. Like, okay, let me go back to that. And then, again, like kind of create that light.
Yeah. That's awesome. And as an artist, there's so much time, especially when I would say, this is just my opinion, but I would say when you're doing authentic searching, experimenting, creative pursuit, there's so much uncertainty with it, especially at the beginning phases of your career when you're not sure if this is going to work, if that's going to work, if it's, whatever. Like there's so much uncertainty. And yeah, as an artist, it's kind of like, comes with the territory, par for the course. Welcome to the game. You're going to be
Yeah.
uncertain. And like getting comfortable with that uncertainty is like part of you as an artist.
And like pretty much any other career. Like if you're, getting out like fresh out of college and you have no idea what you're doing, like no one fresh out of college knows how to do like their first job, like on the first day, like
Yeah.
there's still going to be a lot of like uncertainty, like moving through it. And so I think that's what I realized. I was just like, I'm kind of learning the same lessons in other jobs that I feel like I almost learned faster while I was doing art. Or I learned it just like where it resonated with me a little bit more. And so that's kind of how I knew like, okay, this is something I need to keep doing. Like whatever, even if it's like just for myself, right? Like there's just something I'm learning here about myself that I want to keep unraveling or keep putting pieces together, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's art. That's the art process right there. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So just being dedicated, I guess,
Yeah.
that mindset.
Yeah, dedicated to the growth and the transformation
Do
and
you
the
feel like you
process.
got there pretty quickly, or do you feel like it wasn't until you met Laura, your business manager, until you like were able to kind of see things differently?
Mm. There were a lot of moments that stand out to me. Lara was a huge help in getting the overall systems in place, but there was a lot of stuff that was like the interpersonal part of art, like you're talking about, that were happening like in little breakthrough experiences throughout my life that then set the stage so I had all that stuff kind of like in progress, and then when I met Lara, she helped me like get the business aspect of it going, which helped support the creativity and the creative
Right.
explorations.
To like help take it to the next level.
Exactly. Make it sustainable so that
Right.
I could do this full time and make it all work.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like as artists, like I feel like we're basically like entrepreneurs, where we've got so many different responsibilities, I guess, that just like looks differently than any other profession. But it is like a responsibility. It's like almost like saying like, hey, like you're gonna do this, if you're gonna help people like through art, like it needs to be structured and taken seriously.
Definitely. There's no
Yeah.
free lunch. There's no free lunch. And I think a lot of people from the outside think about art as this like sort of, I don't know, floaty thing with no backbone, but that's just what it looks like from the outside when it's done well.
Yeah.
But it
That's
really but it needs structure. It definitely does, especially for the ways that you interface with society and business and bills and money and all that stuff.
yeah, it's like any other project that somebody turns into you. Let's say it's not even art, like it's some sort of, proposal for something. And like you want it to look effortless, even though you put in all that work, like you want it to look like. So it's like it's almost like, oh, this is like like it's like a principle that like applies to everything. Like if you meet somebody and they give you work and you're like, oh my God, you did that? Like how'd you do that within like a couple hours? Like I feel that way when people are like if someone can like do invoices like super quickly, I'm like, or I don't know, like they could just like handle like I don't know, like math stuff. Like I'm so bad at that stuff. So it's like bookkeeping stuff. I'm like, you want it to look effortless. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all part of the process.
Yeah.
It's all different levels. Just you'll get there.
Leveling it up.
That's right. Okay, now we're at the part of the podcast where we jump into the four questions. Are you ready for that?
Let's do it.
Okay. This is a fun question to start off for you. What is your advice for aspiring creatives? And this is creatives with a capital C. These are people from all backgrounds, all genres of creativity. Musicians, art, like painters, ceramicists, and then way outside the box, like all sorts of things. Creatives.
Um, I think I don't think it's like limited to just creatives. I think advice that I would give is like to constantly find ways to step out of your comfort zone. Like it just like you will be introduced to a new side of you. Like I feel like maybe a year ago before like when I met you, I probably would not have been this open to an interview like this. But one of the things that like helped me open me up was something I've never done before, which was like improv. And that was really, really scary for me. But like that totally opened up like, and it's something I had wanted to do for a long time and never really like thought I would ever do it. And always found excuses like not to look for a studio or go try it out or whatever it is. But yeah, like I would just recommend like just doing things that are out of your comfort zone because you'll never know like who you'll meet, like another person, but like also yourself. Like you don't know what side of you is gonna come out that's been like wanting to come out. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. You'll be introduced to a whole new version of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. That just gave me goosebumps. You just saying
Ha! There you
that.
go. You said it. You said it. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. And if you don't put yourself into those situations, you're never gonna know. And maybe you won't like it, but or maybe
Yeah.
it won't be something that you want to come back to, but at least doing things, yeah, making yourself a little bit uncomfortable a lot of times pays off with really cool benefits of learning all sorts of things.
What was the last uncomfortable thing you've done?
Um, I did improv not too long ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, and
Nice.
that was uncomfortable, but it was so much fun, and it was really neat to see how like energetic and tapped in. I mean, I really love the concept, and art for me is a concept of is like a practice of presence. And I
Mhm.
liked all the concept of like getting out of your mind and just into your heart, into your body, into the moment.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
that was like an incredible experience in that. And seeing
Yeah.
how present all of these improv actors are. Like they're
Yeah.
like,
They're just going for it.
give me
Yeah.
something and I'll run with it. Like
Yeah.
anything. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you guys are insane.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Can't hold back. When
No.
you're in that like environment, you just can't hold back because everybody's like on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely an experience. So
Yeah.
whoever's listening to this podcast, this is your sign.
Yeah. Go get some improv in your life. It's really fun. And it's so uncomfortable. And like butterflies, you're on stage and you're just like, the butterflies are going. Huh.
Oh, you were on stage? Okay, I wasn't on stage. I didn't do all that. But
Yeah, it was this like thing in Carlsbad at the New Village Arts Center. And there was a
I've been
stage and it
there.
was like this whole thing. And they do it regularly. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yep. Could be a good one to go to.
Yeah. Sweet.
Okay. All right. Next question. If you could do a collaborative project with anybody, any artist or creative from history, like any
Oh
time,
wow.
any place, like it's wide open, who would you choose? First thought, best thought.
Um, I like Frida Kahlo. I feel like that sounds so like cliche, but like
But
I
she's so
love
great.
yeah, she's just so cool. Like she just I don't know, I just remember like learning about her story and stuff and art history and just thinking like, wow, like what a like I just can't even imagine like what she went through in order to what she was feeling that I mean, like only from her paintings, but like just being able to be that kind of strong, like have that sort of strength during that time, given all the circuit, like all the shit you went through, like that is just like a powerful person. Like gender aside, like that's just a powerful person who can like, yeah. So super inspired
Who
by,
can survive and
yeah,
like thrive through like more adversity than almost anybody else, than most, like 98% of the people out there.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm inspired by that. I'm inspired by that because I feel like I went through like I feel like I mean everybody like has to go some like some sort of like turmoil and then like sometimes I'm like looking at older people like seniors and, like they're walking around I'm just like damn like you made it this far like like just like life is hard and like just going through all like the thoughts and the limiting beliefs that I've been through like I can only imagine for another person like on their story and like how, like what they went through. And it's like, damn, like you're 75 years old and you're still going, like you did some shit, So yeah, just like hearing about her story and yeah, just like how she developed. And I find it really inspiring, like that, the resilience.
Awesome. That would be fun to see what you guys would make.
Well, who would you work with?
I'm not going to answer that right now because what I like to do is in these interviews, I just want to focus on you, the interviewee, and then at the end of the season, I have somebody interview me, and then I go through them all. So this is a teaser for that episode,
Okay.
but I'll be thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah, so many good people. Oh my God. One name comes to mind already, but we'll see what it ends up being.
Okay.
Okay.
So
No, no,
okay.
no. All right. So now, third question here is assuming that the world is magic and anything that you want to have come true will and can, what does 5 years from now look like for Andrea Solorzano?
Hmm. I haven't really thought that far yet, but probably should. But um, I guess 5 years from now, I see more partnerships, collaborations with clients that I'm aligned with. I see myself, I don't want to say fully developed, but like hmm, just I don't know, more solid, I guess. More solid in like the work that I'm doing and like my message and having much more work that has like a cohesive storyline that kind of brings it all together. Um and I see myself, I don't know if it would be in 5 years or not, but I see myself it like internationally, like going around the world, going to like different charities, nonprofits, like just get it, like working on a bigger scale to more people and in different environments. I love the idea of like doing a mural like at a school in a different country to like, something like that, or like teaching a art workshop in like a different country. Just like again, like spreading the energy of like follow your dreams basically without saying it. Yeah, that's what I see.
There we go. International art superstar.
Art
Ah,
fairy. Art.
International Art Fairy. All right. As Ed would say, let's go. Shout out to Ed. What's up, dude? Love Ed. Eduardo, your partner, was so gracious to have me do a mural and you do a mural in his office at the new place. And it's such a cool, like, coming together of a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah,
That was rad.
yeah. It was really cool to, yeah, like you said, coming together of all the things, and like all the people, like the whole, like, okay, you're good at that, you're good at that. Everybody like in their place, like doing their thing and just kind of making it all happen. It's like that putting together the vision together.
Yeah, that whole thing was like a giant collaborative work of art in itself.
100, yeah, 100% for
Yeah.
sure. And they will reap the rewards for years.
Oh
Like, I
yeah.
mean, forever, honestly. Like
The-
their Robbie, like their property manager, like he says he goes in that office like all the time because he says like it's like the best office. He just like loves going in there. Just like, you know what I mean? He just like loves the energy of it. And it's
yeah,
like, yeah, that's a huge win for like a business owner, right?
totally.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Question number 4. This is the big one.
Okay. Hit me.
Don't freak out, okay?
Hit me.
What's your definition of art?
My definition of art, I'm freaking out. I'm just kidding. I heard this the other day. She wasn't talking about art, but she said that beauty is the manifestation of joy. And I thought that was such a way to think about art because I feel like art is always like kind of like the cherry on top in different spaces. It's a luxury, to be honest. It truly is, but a good one because it's the again like gift that keeps giving. So I think that's what it is. It is the I mean, people can have different obviously ideas of it, but like for me specifically, like I want to put out art to bring other people joy. So,
Cool. So it's the
yeah.
manifestation. It's like the highest level manifestation of joy.
That's what that's what I'm striving for, yeah. That is my one of like a focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who said it. I saw it on like I mean, I could probably find it for you. Like after the break I can tell you who it was. But yeah, that was a interesting quote.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Yeah, and like you
Yeah.
said, it's the top level thing. It's the icing on the cake. It's not the cake. It's like you don't need art for a building to exist. It's like the highest level addition that you can make to it. And at that level, utility is like the lower levels, that's the structural stuff. But then the higher level is like adding beauty and connection and creativity and philosophy and all the higher level elements.
Yeah, like if you just think of like a flower that has no color, you could still get the function out of it, right? Like, pollen and all that. I don't know enough about flowers, but it's like, but there's like a functional aspect to it, right?
Yes.
So, but like, so it doesn't necessarily like, I mean, I guess like, what if it was black and white to us, but like bees, I think bees can see it. Bees can see a little bit, like the vibrancy of it. So it's like it is purely just to please us. Cause like why do we need to see a colorful flower? Like we're not gonna go and like we don't need it, necessarily to survive. I mean, I don't know. Like we don't need that color, but like obviously, like I said, like the function of it, like I don't know if I'm making sense right now.
But yeah, yeah. The beauty of it is like the higher level element.
Yeah, like the color. It's like
With a
it's just
flower, the beauty is sort of built in with the function because it's like attracting bees and pollinators, I guess. That's a little bit the beauty's like built into the function.
yeah, but like do we need to see it? Like as humans? Like do humans need to see a colorful flower to survive?
No.
No. We just like it's just to please us. Literally. Like that's why it's like a luxury. It's like that's pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, like a flower garden. Totally. All right.
Jokes.
All right. All right. All right. So, okay, nice work on that. You did well. Okay, so
I read a
let's
lot too. I like that's also part of this whole like mindset shift. Like I've completely changed like the way that I even approach like joy and all of those things. Like I had a really rough go. I didn't really go into like my childhood stuff, but like my childhood stuff is like complete opposite of what I'm living now. So it's like that was something I had to like
yeah, like reorient yourself.
yeah, like reprogram. Like I used to come from like a real again like that painful hollow place. Like I'm familiar with it. Like even like as a kid, like I had my own like I had suicide ideation. Like I was really 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 I was really low. Like even like I said like as a kid. So like kind of again, like believing that there's more out there, like even though I couldn't really see it in my inner circle because there was so much struggle. So yeah, it's just like something that I've just really like craved and wanted, and like I've seen it in other people. And so it's like, how do I build that for myself? And so that's kind of why I came into this, like thinking like, if there's somebody out there who feels down, like as a, you know, even a kid, right? Like they can look at something and completely forget about whatever it is that they're going through. And maybe that just by looking at that photo or looking at that picture, like it will signal another thought, like a more happier thought, because it's all connected. And so if something can like disrupt like your way of thinking, if you're going down like a really low path or something, or you're thinking terrible thoughts, like something that will kind of like surprise you like that, it'll help. Yeah.
It's powerful. That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. And like you and I have talked a lot about the why of your art. And I feel like that's when an artist can connect to the why very deeply, they have then tapped into their eternal source of creative energy, their, you know, their motivation, their drive. Like that's where your superpower exists. And when you can find that and connect to that, then like art will just happen and flow, and that's where you're going to create from. And it's really cool to hear all this. I've got some questions for part 2. Why
Yep.
don't we have you tell everybody where they can follow you and connect with you in the world online?
Yeah. So you can follow me at Solorzano Fine Art on Instagram, Solorzano Fine Art. And then my website is Solorzano Fine Art Gallery. So if you want to check out my website, go to that.com.
.com.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a break and get a drink, get some snacks, and then we're gonna come back for part 2. Before we go, can you hit the audience with one bit of wisdom? It doesn't have to be about art, it can be about anything. One
Yeah.
bit of off the cuff wisdom.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. Shoot. Speak from your heart. Yeah. I feel like before starting this interview, I was a little nervous, not gonna lie. So, and I know in my head I can think of it like it's just a conversation. You've talked to Taylor so many times, it's not a big deal. Um, but like in your head you can like muster up all these stories and like kind of feel into that fear. So, um, yeah, speak from your heart, and kind of going back to that, like if it's in you feel uncomfortable, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe if I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. So like I want to lean in. And so I just encourage that. And then when you lean in with your heart.
There we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
this interview right now is you being introduced to a new side of you that you never knew before.
Yes.
All right.
I
Cool.
like that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, me too. All right. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. Inspired? Your support means a lot to me. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your pods, share with other artists, and let's keep the creativity flowing. And we're back. Okay. Andrea, that was a great part 1. Now, I want to dive right into it. Part 2 is a little more free flow, back and forth conversation. There's some stuff that really stood out to me in this first part, and there's these concepts of, which is really cool. I feel like you're onto something really good conceptually with the butterfly, with transformation, the chrysalis going into the darkness, and then, the pain of getting, that happens before you get to the next level. And then you just mentioned sort of the darkness of your life, that you had these like really dark times. Maybe you didn't want to be here. You didn't, like you didn't go into it too much, but that's like in effect what you were saying. I'm curious about that, but I also don't feel like you feel like you need to feel like you have to talk about that part. If you want to, go for it, because I think there's a lot of people, especially sensitive, creative human beings like a lot of us are, who would connect with that, who probably have been in that same place. But the part that I'm really interested in is like the turning point, that where like you were going downward, or you were like down low in the dark, and then something changed. Like what was it that shifted it all? So that's the sort of thing I'm curious about.
Yeah, what made like it all happen, I guess, or what gave me
Yeah.
mindset.
Tell us a little bit about that origin story. Like what was happening, what was going on, and then what
Like
changed.
my okay, so like I guess like I mean not, I don't again like I don't want to focus too much on the past, but I grew up in a very like toxic environment. It was like a dark place. It was a cult environment. Everything was regulated. We had like there was rules about everything. There's only certain people we could talk to. There's only certain things, and especially like as a kid, you're like, oh, I want to play with that kid, but then you can't. So we're
Wow.
celebrating holidays. It pretty much like we weren't allowed to dance, we weren't allowed to draw, we weren't allowed to have pictures. Like there was just pretty much any sort of like individualistic expression was considered sinful. And so that for me growing up was like as an artist, I didn't even know I was an artist at the time, but like I was just like there's what's the point of life right now if I can't enjoy it or I can't express my joy or that sort of thing. So I think like eventually like we got out of it. It was like my mom divorced our evil stepdad. But yeah, I think once we got out of it, I started opening up to like or different perspectives. And because my mom was just like, okay, you can believe in whatever you want. And so that was like disorienting to me, but also like created this like sense of curiosity. And so over time, like I've just been picking up like little nuggets of like, oh, I don't have to think that like that anymore. Or I can, be a little bit lighthearted about this, or I don't have to overthink this situation or whatever it is. So I think over time, I just started to develop the like sense of character of like curiosity and like wanting to try things. And yeah, that like helped introduce me into, because like I had a very different relationship with the universe and like how I felt about spirituality in general coming from that place. So as I developed and my mind started to develop, I created a new relationship with my spirituality. And that was really what kind of shifted. And again, like it's like over time, like span like years of just like little nuggets. Um, but one of like the biggest turning points that I had was I I mean, there's so many like little things that I feel like added up, but like I left my, I was working as a director for this before and after school program. And I was in charge of like all of the art projects. I would make all the lesson plans. I would go to different schools and like help like the art teachers and help teach any sort of like workshop that we had. Like I was a part of that, and I was also part of like putting together like collaborative projects with like the students. And I had a lot of fun doing that, but like I knew like in my heart that I still wanted to be like the person that has like all the hands in the clay. Like I'm the one putting it together for my purpose, not the purpose of this institution. Even though it's like a great, they have like their own set of impact, like their own goals and those sorts of things. I wanted to do it for myself and from what I had like learned and give that out. So I think
Why do you think that
after,
was?
why did I want to do that?
Like for yourself?
Well, it's not necessarily like for myself. It's just more so of like, it's just, I wanted to like share what I want, what I like, I wanted to give myself a voice because I feel like I was so used to like going along with other people's voices. Like, again, like growing up in that specific environment, you know, going to college, like going to different jobs, like just following like their impact, purpose, mission, values. It's like I just wanted that for myself. Like I have impact, purpose, mission, like all these things. Like why don't I put that? Like I have something to say too, basically. And so,
And it was so restricted over time early on.
exactly.
And then through all these other institutions as well.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
That was pretty much it. Like just that I just knew I had something to say too. And so I don't even remember what the question was, but
Yeah. Well, I guess, and what I heard you say about like the turning point from the darkness of it all,
yeah.
you were in this situation that was structured and didn't allow you to exist creatively or fun or joyfully at all. And then once that was lifted, then you were free and you were like, there were all these little turning points, little aha moments that
Yeah.
like opened your mind and vision to the possibilities of how you could live.
Yeah. And like I feel like through every like again, like institution that I was in or a part of, like I've still had this like burning desire that I wanted to be the one to put something out there into the world and say. And I couldn't let it go. And I remember having a conversation. I was getting my master's in art therapy. So this was like another institution. I was like, okay, well, let me get behind this. So maybe this is the way I can like get my voice out there. But I was at a party one time and I met somebody who was a therapist and she had always wanted to be a cook. And so she was like much older than me, probably like 10 years older than me. And she's just like, oh, that's so cool. Like that you're, still doing art. Like, and she was just telling me that, she still thinks about wanting to be a cook. And I'm just like, in my master's program, I'm listening to her and I'm just like, she's like, yeah, I do well and stuff. But like, then she starts showing me all the things that she's made and like how excited that she got. And like, you know what I mean? And then she like tells me these stories about like why she did this and that. And so I'm just like, dude, like, this is what you should be doing, like, so I just knew like there was just all of these like little things that would come up that I would be like, I can't let it go. Like, and if I do, then I'm probably gonna be like that type of like that person. And do I want to be like that person? Like, what do I? And so it's just like again, like reflection. Like, who do you want to be like in this world? Like, how do you want to how do you want people to identify you? Right? Like, what stories do you want people to telling about you when they met you? Like at a party.
Yeah, and like I'm getting the visual for that woman and for a lot of people who are like kind of adjacent to who they really want to be. Like they're close. And it's almost like that woman's on the freeway with one version of herself and the version that she would love to be is over there on the frontage road.
Mm,
And she can see it and she can't sometimes and she's close, but she's not that. She's not
yeah.
that. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I just feel like this is my own personal opinion, but I just feel like when people follow their 100%, you're at least in one car.
Yeah.
You're at least like with yourself and your hopes and dreams. And whether or not, there's all these off ramps that you're going to have to take, but at least you're together with yourself and your dreams and you're going after it. And maybe you're not on the correct road every time, but like those little side journeys are going to help you. Like your energy is all together with
Yeah.
your overall path and your overall like your why and your vision. And yeah, I would so much rather go for it 100% doing what you want to do and then maybe end up somewhere different than like
What
never
you
quite
thought.
never quite going for it 100%.
Yeah.
Because you can see that
Right.
Yeah, there's that element of like sort of like an underlying regret or wonder. What would have happened if I would have just gone for it?
Right. Exactly. And so, yeah, it's like, and then that's what everybody's so scared of too. It's like, it's that taking that leap, I guess. Everybody, anything, like not even just art, like literally, like getting a promotion at work, like it's taking a leap, you know?
Yeah, it's putting yourself out there. Yeah. And it's cool. I mean, that's really the why of this podcast is to encourage
Yeah.
people along their way to go for it. And, you know, in this podcast is all these interviews of people who have gone for it and are going for it and then are making success at it. And I think anybody who's made it in a creative field is going to have a similar story about how, like, you know, there were successes and failures along the way, challenges that they had to overcome. And there's like an evolution of the heart and soul that has to happen
Yeah.
through the process and through the art. And
Right.
that's the cool thing about art is that a life of like around art is like an evolutionary process in itself in a way that a lot of other necessarily like demand of you.
Or you won't be able to see it like as easily, you know?
Yeah.
Because like you can see like the progression of your work as you do art. You're like, oh wow, like I did much better on that than I did on this because this looks more refined and this is like wasn't doing what I wanted. So it's like you can like actually see the differences. Whereas like if you're at work and you're turning in a project and then you know what I mean, it's just like you're like over time you can't really see the development of your growth by going through all your paperwork. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You just kind of
Yeah.
know, and it's like more of a concept. Whereas like you can actually see it visually, and you're like, oh wow, like I'm doing pretty good. Like I'm
Yeah.
getting good at that.
And your art projects, your art can directly speak to and address the things that you go through. Yeah. Tell the world about your experience with your acupuncturist recently and
Oh
what they said
yeah,
about like what you need to be doing.
yeah. So like I've said in part one, is that it's like all a progression of like new findings about myself. And just because like, you know, I'm gaining this momentum, it doesn't mean it doesn't go back. It goes like up and down. And so I was having like a down period in during this time. And with art, like it's one of those things that you can't escape from. You can't escape anything from. Like if there's something going on, like with something else in your lifestyle, like your health or something, like it will affect your art. Like you'll see it because it's energy. And so with my acupuncturist, she was recognizing that I was overworking myself. And I didn't see it that way, but when she pointed it out, what I told her was like, well, when I'm working on projects, like I'll keep working until like I just can't anymore. Like basically until like I want to collapse kind of thing because I just feel like I get energy from it, from doing it. And so she was saying that like okay, like that's good, you know, but you do have to rest. And so for me, the way that I thought about it was I had thought about like the intention that I was putting when she was talking about this. I was thinking about my intention, and then one of her what like the diagnosis for me was I need to basically get out and walk more, watch what I eat, and find things that bring me joy because what she was seeing in my body was that my my energy center was really low and that like all my organs were like not really happy with me. Like, I wasn't nourishing myself the way that I thought I was. So even though I'm doing all this work, I'm doing all this artwork and stuff, my intention wasn't where it needed to be, which was
Well, and what you
to
just told me in the break was that what she directly said was, "Are you making art for yourself?"
yes.
And
So
that, and your like your chakras are not firing fully
Yeah.
because you're not nourishing them, and that's your creative center, is like creating art from that space.
Right. Yeah. So, which was interesting because it's like, I'm like, oh, I'm making art. So what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? But she's just like, you need to create art for yourself because that is what will give you energy. It'll create it. It's a domino effect because everything's connected. Basically, all your organs will be more nourished from doing that. It's an
Which
interesting
is,
diagnosis.
I mean, that's pretty monumental to hear. And because I've always had this, like, as a professional artist, I've had two pathways that I walk down at the same time. And one is my commercial art for clients, and then the other is my own personal art. I call it,
Yeah.
I always go like this. It's like comes from here. Like that's the sign I always do. And yeah, like that is the stuff that nourishes your soul and like replenishes you, and it's
Yeah.
not for anybody else. And that's something I would definitely recommend to all people getting into the world of creativity, because you can, like, there's the stuff that makes you money, and that's valuable and like makes your connections and grows your career.
Right.
But there's the other stuff that replenishes you and allows you to do the career stuff. If
Yeah.
you're if you're lopsided, then you're not.
You're not really giving.
Yeah.
And
And you're not full.
that's what she told me. She's like, you're not really giving, like, you're not really giving. If you're not nourished, like, if you haven't put your mask on, then, like, how are you going to help other people? And so it was one of, like, it was definitely like a wake up call for me because I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm doing all the right things, right? Like, I'm at the systems that need to be in order. Like, I'm reaching out to people, I'm doing the things. But like, one of the biggest things was like to be able to replenish myself and do art for myself and like connect with myself, like, keep that, keep that strong too.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's cool. You've taken the art and life course that I put together. And
Yes.
yeah, and like one of those pillars is wellness for artists. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason, because, and another pillar is long-term perspective.
Yeah.
Like, we're, as creative artists in our career, we are marathon runners. And like, you have to replenish yourself. You have to take care of your physical body, but also your emotional, spiritual, mental bodies. And like your chakras are definitely part of that. And um yeah, you have to be like firing on all cylinders, or you're gonna be lopsided and out of balance, and it's gonna your engine's gonna sputter out and you're gonna break.
Yeah, and I definitely thought about that. I thought about your course, wellness, the first pillar, because it's so true. Things like, I went in there for neck pain, but she like asked me like how my energy level was, and from the heart, I was like, I feel like I have low energy. Like, I wasn't doing anything, like, I was just in the office, but like, just overall, like, that's how I felt. So, yeah, so like not being afraid to like admit like where you're at and just being like, okay, well, there's room to grow, kind of thing. Because that was like another thing too. Like, if I would find myself in this like low energy state before, it would, so like, I would shame myself and be like, well, maybe you're not supposed to be doing this, and like, that sort of thing. And so it's like kind of this like cycle that I'm choosing a different path.
Yeah, that's cool. Like in the past, you might have, like, the message to yourself might have been, maybe I can't handle this. Maybe I don't deserve to be here.
Yep.
But now your message is shifting to, no, I'm here. So now let's make this work.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
And how
let's
do we do that?
figure it out. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I've already decided that this is what I'm doing, and I just have to build or nourish the body to be able to do that. Because I didn't know that I could have more energy. I was honestly shocked when she told me that. I was like, I could feel more, I could feel better, like, so that was really cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get fucking charged up when I take time and do my own art. occasionally. And sometimes it's only like an hour or two. Sometimes it's just thinking about it. I also have a daily practice where I do these like little creative sketches, and it can be like a 2-minute sketch. But even that, like just connecting to your own creativity. And I don't do it for the world. I don't show the world,
Yeah.
or it's not for anybody else. It's not to sell it. It's just to connect to your own creativity. I did this ceremony last week, and my intention in the ceremony is like a creative ceremony that my wife Haley put on. My intention with it was to explore my creativity. And then that intention through the meditations turned into be creativity. Don't explore it
Mm.
like it's an outside thing, like integrate it, become it, like merge with creativity, be it. And then in the ceremony, I had this vision of a tiny fire dragon that was like this big, like a little
Mhm.
bigger than a hummingbird, and it was made of fire. And it was creativity itself. It was like the creative. It was like the energy, the spirit of creativity. And it's awesome because like a candle, with one candle you can light 1,000 or 1,000,000 or whatever. And so there's this power in this tiny thing, but at the same time it's tiny, so it needs to be protected and it needs to be nurtured like an ember. And you have to like protect it from the wind and protect it from the pressure of the outside world.
Mm.
And it was just this like really awesome metaphor for our own creativity, that we need to nurture our creativity like it's our baby,
Yeah.
and protect it and grow it and develop it, and like make sure that it feels comfortable and safe. And then if you create those conditions, then it can thrive. It can turn into this like giant, like powerful thing.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, yeah. I've like, well, it was a dragon or
Yeah.
what was it? A little dragon?
A little tiny dragon, a little fire dragon.
So that is an interesting symbol that I would want to explore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a painting of it
Oh, that's cool.
during the
Okay.
ceremony, and now it's kind of this like little friend that I have in my mind.
Oh, I love it.
It's very cool. Love that little guy.
That's it's like also the power of art, right? Like you just have to look at something and then it sparks this feeling inside you or state of mind. And that for me is like what's so interesting is it's like the subconscious level of how art affects you.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like my definition for what great art is art that can shift consciousness in others
Mm.
and can take people to a higher understanding or a deeper understanding of something that can change them. And there's like great art can just like in a second it can change you, it can have you understand somebody and like feel empathy for somebody or connect or get it or like whatever, like
Yeah.
grasp a concept, and then you are better for it because
Right.
you've observed or experienced that art.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way to say it.
Yeah. Well, I think we did really good here. Is there anything else that comes to mind that you want to tell the humans of Earth?
Yeah, last time or right before part one ended, you were saying like, oh, what's your advice, like off tops kind of thing, off the top, off the dome.
Oh, the
Um,
wisdom. Off the cuff
yeah,
wisdom.
yeah. So like I was thinking about it and I was like, I feel like that's not everything I want to say. So I also want to say that, like another thing that I've like kind of taken on in terms of like my changing my perspective is to always come from like a giving place. And so like and I think before like my mindset was around um like okay, how can I get there? How can I be this person and how can I make this amount of money and like how can I make this type of art and like so people buy it or something. And so it was just very rigid. And so I feel like coming from this like giving, like sharing place, it helps me just like ease into just it's a gift. Like no matter what it is, like what it comes out to or you know, you are, as long as you, I want to have the intention of giving, even in this conversation. So I want to also put that out there, like leading with your heart, but also kind of like, and coming from a giving place of like whatever it is that you're trying to give.
Yeah, like a generous space. Like
Yeah.
not thinking of it of like as like tit for tat, I'm gonna get this and as in exchange for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That takes faith.
Yeah.
That
It
takes
takes a lot of
trust.
faith. It takes a
Yeah.
lot of faith. I mean, it takes a lot of faith and trust to and courage to even be an artist. Like you, it is a full character development for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. As any other entrepreneur would say, like an entrepreneur would say the same thing. Like I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, like learned so much about myself, like getting rejected here and there, and but I had to keep going, right? Like it's the same story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thanks
That's
for
all I want.
joining. Yeah, this is great. Nice work. Well, it's been really exciting watching your progression so far, and I look forward to all the magic to come.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Same. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in. If this spoke to your journey, spread the word, follow the pod, and keep chasing what lights you up.